So Connor, along with all of these amazing helpers, are going around the yard picking up all of the limbs that fell during the hurricane recently. Lex is over here also picking up things from the hurricane. Oh my goodness, fellas. Look at this pile. You guys have made quite the pile there. That's a lot of limbs. So how hard is this job overall?
I don't necessarily think this is a hard job.
It's not hard,
but it's more of like a long job.
So Lex is about that. He's always about how much time a job takes. He doesn't really focus on the amount of energy it takes. He always thinks about how much time it's going to take. And yes, I do know that everything is grown up because we have nothing over here to graze and keep this down. But we did lose a limb. This is not a tree, but we lost a limb out of that tree during the hurricane. Here's that limb here. And as you can see, it took out this entire section of my fencing. Now, I'm not so concerned because the big birds would never try to crawl something like this. They're not that sure-footed. But I will have to fix this before we bring the donkeys or horses over. I want to show you all one of the saddest things that I've seen all week long. Are y'all ready? Now, you wouldn't know how sad this is because you don't know how much life and laughter and joy and fun Jamie and I were able to sit out on the porch and listen to coming from this little RV for the last week or so. But the lights in Plum Grove are back on, and that means that Brienne and Laramie and their wonderful kids, Cash and Carter, have left us. I'm going to turn this back up to a high enough setting where it's not running all the time. That will go off. No, it's the saddest thing. Bree did a nice little cleanup, and she took all the sheets in to have them washed and cleaned out the fridge and did everything. She just cleaned up everything. And I wasn't here when they left. I was at the other property. And I got a text from Laramie, and he said, thank you, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this. And I felt so emotional. I did, and I'm still feeling quite emotional. Folks, Lester here. Hi to hello. Hi to ho. You beat me on the hi to hello. I love that so much. I do. Friends, I am going to be by myself tonight. It will be Lester with no Jamie. Jamie is, she's consumed tonight, and so she's going to go ahead and just take some her time. And so please be understanding of that. And I will keep this fairly short. I'm excited to come to you tonight. I do want to let you all know, first and foremost, that if you have other things going on, or if there's other things that you want to catch, I do think that the president may be going live momentarily from the Oval Office. So if you're looking to want to catch that with him, then by all means, jump over and do that. We're just going to talk about our week. I'm not going to, there's nothing that's going to be this. I always say that there's nothing life-changing that you're going to catch from tonight's live. So if you do want to go grab something else, or if you came to see Jamie, then I completely understand, and you are all, by all means, able to go do something else or go find another happy place. Go find your happy place tonight. And a happy place is something that we all need to find right now. Everyone needs to find their happy place. Please go off and do that. There's no reason why you should be the weed in a pasture full of beautiful green grass. Y'all, don't you be the weed. And you all know what happens to weeds in a pasture of green grass. They get hoed right out of the ground and tossed right into the back of the cart where they go to the burn pile. And so you don't want to be that person. Fiona has said, you know what, Dad, don't to worry. If you're all by yourself tonight, I'll be more than happy to come by and give you some company. And thank you so much, Fiona. Connor and Lex are still here. They're right behind me. I told them if you're going to play Xbox, you have to put it on silent. You cannot, or put your headphones on. I said, I'm going to go live. I says, now you can always go out to the RV since it's available again, but your dad's going to be live for just a short while. And so I've asked him politely to keep it nice and quiet while I take care of our housekeeping on this end. And we always like to kind of unwind the week we just experienced and then kind of give you guys kind of a heads up of what's to come. So thank you so very much for that. Dwayne, it's nice talking to you again. I've been messaging with Dwayne a little bit. Now, Dwayne Lacey is a friend of mine. He's also a colleague, a school teacher there in the Houston area. And he and I share a whole lot of things in common, including a lot of our thoughts on what's going on in the world today and the fact that there's so much just negativity around every corner and people looking for a reason to fight. And I love Dwayne in the fact that he can be candid and open and we can talk and he understands me. I understand him. And even though you might think that Dwayne and I both come from two separate spectrums as far as things go, if I could find Dwayne, I would pull up a comment. Dwayne, I know that you're here. I know that you're here, Dwayne. And no, but it's fun talking to Dwayne because we sort of keep each other grounded when we're having a rough go or things are not going so well. It's nice to sometimes bounce things off of each other. And Dwayne's always been there and maybe not always here, but we message back and forth on occasion. So, thank you for the compliment on my shirt. Yes, I was gifted this week, as a matter of fact. I opened it on a gift and goodie. I forgot what day that was, but I've never had a shirt like this. I do see a whole lot of sportsmen, country guys wearing these kind of shirts. They have that little funny thing on the back of them. I don't know what you call that, but one of those things. It looks like a half cape. So I'm halfway there as far as my superhuman goes. I have half a cape that I wear. All heroes don't wear capes, but some of them wear little half capes like I got. I got me a half cape. I'm kidding. That was dumb. I don't know where that came from. That was really dumb. But thank you so much for the compliment on my shirt. I don't even have my glasses on. I don't know how I saw that. I'm not always able to pick up things when the comments come flying by right here. And we're blessed to have a very nice audience. And the more people that you have following on the different pages, you know that we always talk about what a blessing StreamYard is. It brings everything together into one place. So in the old days, Jamie and I would try to go live and we would have a camera set up from Jamie's channel. We'd have a camera for my channel. We'd have the laptop for one of the YouTube channels. And that's what we had to do, was always be jumping around back and forth. And then came StreamYard. And StreamYard is a really neat app that allows us to bring all of our platforms into one. And so even though you can't see all the comments that I'm seeing, what you see on your end are only the comments of those who are watching the same channel that you are. Whereas I'm having to try to sort through all kinds of stuff over here. And that makes it a little bit overwhelming sometimes. But thank you for the compliment. Today, Brienne and Laramie, they got their lights back on there in Plum Grove. I know that everyone's excited to finally have their power back. And everyone except for me. Now, I know that sounds quite selfish, but we've already had our power back for several days. And then we had the generator that kept us with AC and water and, all the things even before the lights came back on. But I tell you what, the time that I spent here with Laramie and Brienne, especially Cash and Carter, it sort of wore on me. It kind of wore on me. Of course, we have Lex and Connor here. They're here with me right now. LE came by twice this week to cool off, to shower, to wash some clothes, and just kind of to eat. Well, he came by to eat mostly. Yeah, he mostly came by to eat. But the house was full. The house was very full of people. And a couple of those days, Jamie was gone, so it was just Lester with a house full of people. And it reminded me of the old days when it was the old Lester between my marriages. I went about 7 years between marriages. And during those 7 years, That was during LE. My older son was probably 5 or 6, and he was at a really neat age where he was able to have all of the nephews over, his cousins and his niece Brienne. And so we had years and years and years of my house being we called it the happy house because I did not allow crying. I remember I told him, if you're going to cry, you go home to your house. You can only be here if you're not going to cry. And so for a very long time, the kids would come over almost daily during the summer, and I'd cook them ramen noodle for lunch. We had no money, so there was nothing fancy. There was no trips to McDonald's. There was nothing fun besides just the games. And we found ways to make it fun. We did. We found ways to make it fun. Well, I will address 2 comments real fast. If I look tired, it's because I am tired. There's no need beating around the bush. We don't have the privilege of going and getting facials here. We don't go get all of the collagen or whatever you guys call it. And we don't have the ability to do all the fun things that you guys can do. So after a long day, yes, we are in fact tired, very tired. And I don't take it as an insult. I don't know if you meant it that way. Lester, you look so tired. Obviously, that's derogatory because it makes me feel negative about the way I appear, my appearance. But listen, I tell you what, with the things that's going on in social media right now and the negativity that's around every corner, I will not allow something like that to get me down, because you know what? I'm tired. And if I look wrinkled, it's because I'm old and tired. And if I sound grouchy, it's probably because I'm grouchy. And Vanessa says, Lester, hashtag be a Vanessa. And to me, you look great. I love Vanessa. Thank you so much, Vanessa, for being who you are. And I'm also noticing that Vanessa follows a lot of channels, Morrow Hill channels. And on all of those channels, I keep seeing the hashtags, be a Vanessa. So Vanessa, we started something the same way we started the hi to hello. We've also started the hashtag be a Vanessa. And for anyone who's not familiar with what that means, hi to hello was a simple, I got tongue-tied one day. Sometimes I get excited, I get nervous, and I start rambling out things out of my mouth. And I was on a live. I forgot what I was going to say. Maybe hey folks, or hi everybody, or hey guys. I forgot what I was going to say. But what came out of my mouth were the words hi to hello. Hi to hello. And I don't know how or why, but it just stuck. And would you believe that when I got a message from Ben at Dowscone Farm there in the UK, do you want to know how he started his message? Hi to hello. I love that. I was so flattered. Number one, that Ben would remember something like that, which is just, and then he would actually use that. So hi to hello is something. And then the other thing I was going to say is I'm going to keep our conversations tonight only based on things that apply to me and my life. I will not tell you someone else's story. It's not my place. I'm going to stay in my lane, as they say, and I will allow everybody to tell their own story. You know, back when I was the only video creator on the entire Morrow Hill, I didn't have to go around and ask because you didn't know anybody else anyway. And so I could pretty much go around the hill and tell you every story about what was going on with every family member and everything. It was all from my perspective. It was all my story because I was the only creator, the only Morrow Hill character that you knew. But as the pages begin to expand and grow and other channels begin to pop up, you have to realize that now everybody has their own story to tell, and it should be their story to tell. So what I'm going to ask you is to remember that. And instead of asking me something that is not my story to tell, don't even ask. Why would you even ask me about anything that's not my story to tell? So we all know what kind of stories Lester can tell, things that apply to the Lester channels. and you know what kind of stories my dad can tell or what Jake can tell, or so think about that for a moment. And we sometimes say stay in your lane. That's an expression I've learned from you all. Stay in your lane and only discuss things that are your story to tell. And so I will make sure. So if you're asking questions about things that's not my story to tell, then I'm not going to tell that story. Now, by me mentioning Plum Grove has power is something you already know. Everyone already knows. There's been so many posts about it from all over Morrow Hill. So that was my story to tell. My story to tell because Breanne and Laramie took those beautiful kids away from me. They took my kids away. So now I feel like I should have to go to court now and try to get some custody time, some time with them kiddos, because they're a part of me now. I'm kidding. But no, let's all try to stay in our lane and not, I don't mind you asking questions. I would rather the questions wait till the end of the live so I have a chance to put my glasses on so I can actually see what you're asking. Okay, so here comes all the tattletales who are going to tattletale on other people who are, guys, that's the root of the problem. That's the root of the problem. Don't do that, because all you're going to do is provoke other people to be curious or ask those same type of questions of things that you shouldn't be doing, y'all. Come on now. Something that is my story to tell is we had a new addition to our Longhorn family today. It was quite scary because we did have a Longhorn cow who went into labor. I do believe she was starting labor last night. I could see her heavy breathing and the panting, and you kind of know the signs. You also can see a look that a cow will give you when they're experiencing pain. It's sad to talk about, but you can see, you begin to know that particular look on their face, especially around their mouth area. So I could tell last night that we had a cow, Dolly, who was starting to go into labor. And so we were at the property very, very late last night with nothing. We went back today quite early, and Dolly was still in labor, but she had went ahead and moved further along in all of that to where when I got there, she had her water had broke. And so it was going to be a beautiful moment to capture on a live video. Well, that's what you always hope anyway. Yeah, that's what you always hope, is a beautiful moment that you can capture on a live video. But you know how that expression goes. If something can go wrong, then it usually will. And here I was on a live video that you can't edit, you can't take anything away. And we realized that Dolly is actually having some complications. Her calf was being born breeched, which means it was turned around backwards. So I began to go into a little bit of a panic mode, not crazy panic, because we've seen it before. You guys who followed this page for a while, you know that we've had to remove some calves or help with the labor process a few times. Well, I see that Connor has joined me on my live. Are you really going to do that?
No.
Just come over here and sit by me if you want to. Come on and sit by me. I don't mind.
I'm going to play Minecraft.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Lex, you want to come sit by me? So Connor's going to quite like low-key troll me, and he's sitting right here beside me playing Minecraft. He's playing Minecraft, but he's also messaging you all at the same time. And I says, Connor, just come sit over here. He goes, no, I'm good. He only wants to mess with me a little bit. And that's fine. Connor is known for being that kind of a guy. He's a gem. He's wonderful. So let me get back to the story with the cows. And so anyway, so Dolly did go into labor, but we knew that there was going to be an issue. That baby was coming out upside down and backwards. Lord, can I just say inverted? I don't know exactly how you guys, women, you know more about these kind of things than what I do. And I don't exactly know. I know the word breech, obviously. The way a calf should come out, if everything is perfect, the way that a calf should be delivered from mom is front legs first, And then once those legs get out so far, you start. Please don't make me. Please don't make me demonstrate that. I feel like that Ace Ventura. I feel like Ace Ventura, wherever he's inside the, Ace Ventura, and he's like doing his spying from inside. Whatever. Anyway, yes, that's what you hope to see. Front legs come out. You can see the hooves are down. They should be looking this way. And then at some point, the face comes out. And then you can start at that point kind of gauging, knowing that baby can breathe if it has to, and all those kind of things. But in our case, we saw this. Hooves were upside down. So we knew already that the calf was going to be inverted, which is like, I can't quite lean over that far, but I think you get the idea. I think that you get the idea. If I was more limber, I would have absolutely done that for you all and showed you. I would have actually done this and everything. I would have done the whole thing. But no, the calf was coming out inverted. And that in itself is not the end of the world. We've seen that a few times here and there. Guys, all of you moms know that things happen during those months. And sunny side up, says Holly. Yes, Holly, the calf was coming out sunny side up. Thank you, Holly. That made me laugh for the first time today. A real laugh, not a fake laugh. But yes, calf was coming out sunny side up. Someone says, yes, please do it. Don't put. Sometimes you make me embarrass myself. And then people laugh at me like I'm not real. Like I'm just this fake, whatever. Just because I'm a funny guy. Anyway, so I went up and I began to look around for some things that I might need. Our goal was to do what we had done with Gracie and maybe try to get her into a corner, and hopefully she would allow us to help manipulate and work with her to get that baby out safely and in time. You don't have a long time when things like this begin to happen. If you don't already know the general rule, now I know you can Google it if you want to, and Google may say something different than what I'm about to tell you, but a general rule of thumb is that a first-time mom will sometimes take longer to deliver. That might be true in real life also. I don't know. I don't know if first-time moms take longer to deliver. I'm guessing they probably do, but Dolly was not a first-time mom. So in saying so, a cow who's already delivered before, who's already had children, will be quite a bit faster. And so when I saw that Dolly was having complications, and I began to kind of think about how much time I've seen, her since the water broke, how much time I witnessed since those hooves begin to show. And then what was scary is as her contractions, she would push those little hooves out about 8 inches or so, but then it would come back, everything would come back in. And so that's the exact same thing happened back when Gracie had her baby last summer. So last summer, we were blessed to have Uriel was over working with us that day. We had Brienne. We had, I don't know who else was there. I don't know, Ellie may or may not. I don't remember if Ellie was there or not. But the three of us were able to manipulate and help get in and get everything turned around and get Danny, who was born to Gracie, delivered safely and with no complications whatsoever. But we weren't able to put our hands on Dolly. Now, as you guys know, Dolly only came to us in December of last year. So Dolly still does not, she knows me as being the guy that handles her and feeds her and puts out water, but Dolly does not know me as ever putting my hands on her. And I've never put my hands on her. I've dropped off a few buckets of feed here and there, but Dolly didn't feel comfortable with anyone getting close to her or putting hands on her. And so we went back up and got a rope. And so my plan at that point was to try to rope her when, the lasso rope. And I was going to tie her to the side-by-side, very similar to how we had to do with Gracie also when she got her head caught in some string last year. Yes, you remember Brienne was gagging while she was trying to help us last year. That was very funny. I should try to find that video. Listen, if you don't stop asking questions about a particular person, I'm going to have to. I'm going to pull you're being a weed. You're being a weed, very annoying weed. Stop it. So what I had to do was we couldn't rope Dolly. She was underneath a grove of trees, and it was really, really hard trying to get the lasso to up and go around her. And so we tried. So everything was happening on the fly. But don't forget, we were also on a live video. So in a live video, you can't just edit. You can't just cut. Now, I could have turned it off, but I felt like turning off the live video would have been very similar to us not sharing with you the good, the bad, and the ugly. We always say we will share with you everything that happens on our farm in our time usually, but this was a live video. You've already been watching it for 30 minutes. And so I says, Jamie, if you'll just video, I'll just see what we can do here. So we begin to work. At some point, our plan was to try to go ahead and get Dolly to walk, which is a vet recommendation. And hopefully she can kind of get things turned around on her own. A lot of her laying on her belly, trying to shift and maneuver. Mother Nature, if you don't know this, Mother Nature is so darn powerful with the things that Mother Nature can do on her own. Even so, we still wanted to do our part. We could not get Dolly to drive. You couldn't put her anywhere. Stephanie, oh Lord. Ma'am, so how do we know what questions we can ask? You can ask any question you want to, but could you wait until my story's over? Number one. And then number two, ask questions that apply to me. Ask questions that are my story to tell. Don't ask me questions that belong to Jamie. Don't ask me questions that belong to Jake. Ask me questions that are my story to tell. Because what you can do, ma'am, is go to any of those channels and ask those creators your questions. There you go. So, and I'm not being mean. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just trying to answer that question and maybe answer a lot of your questions. So we were finally able to watch Dolly, and she did end up going down to the far back 25-acre pasture, and she found a small grove of trees where she laid up in. It was cute because her best friend, Reba, went with her, and Reba was kind of like being her protect. You got to stop. Connor, will you do me a favor and let that dog outside? That's Fiona saying there's something going on outside, and I need to go out there and check it out because that's her job. That's what she lives for. There she goes. So Millie's out there barking also, and I think the two of them barking together it's probably going to make everyone else bark as well, but we'll see what happens. So anywho, Dolly did go to the tree line. I drove over to watch from a distance, and what I watched and what was kind of scary is at some point we saw all four legs. We saw the front two and the back two, except it was here and it was here. So we knew that the baby was in fact going to be born breached. And that meant that, well, guys, you already know it's impossible. It's impossible for a cow to come out or a child to come out in that shape. And so we knew we had to intervene. But we got blessed in the fact that in that walk over to the other side of the pasture, somehow in all of that contraction, retraction, or whatever you want to call it, somehow that baby began to shift. Also, by Dolly getting on her side and doing things on her side, I think that she was able to somehow turn that baby around. Now, the baby still was born breached. It still came out with its hind legs first, which is not what you want to see. That's a whole lot more dangerous. It could have a lot of lung issues on that calf with not being able to breathe. It could lead. Everyone knows that you don't want to be born breached. Bad things can happen in that situation. But without us having to do much of anything besides having her walk around, she was able to turn that baby around on her own, and that baby was born. She laid it right there in that grove of trees in the back pasture. We did record the entire thing live. So if you're interested in watching that kind of a video of a live birth, then it's on the Longhorn Lester channel on YouTube. That's where it was recorded from. And that was recorded this afternoon. So Dolly did a wonderful job. She turned around. She began to clean up her baby, and we waited around long enough to make sure the baby was breathing. Its lungs were cleared. It is a female, a little girl. And so Dolly was just amazing. Dolly did really, really good. I'm so proud of her. But I'm not going to lie, it was a very nerve-wracking 35 minutes or so. I'm not sure how long those videos lasted, but it was a quite nerve-wracking. You know, you don't want to lose a baby, but you don't want to lose the mom either. And there have been people who have to make that choice of, do I save the baby or do we save that mother? And so luckily we were able to save both. So both mom and baby are doing fine right now. Now, I do know that there's going to be a question arise later. It's because I kept talking about this. Dolly was so round in the middle that we were almost certain that, or I was almost certain that she might be having twins. Now, we did have to leave after the first baby was fine. I did not stick around. I watched mom long enough to see that I didn't think anything else was going to be happening. I didn't see a second water break or anything like that. So I think that she did only have the one. But just to alleviate any of your concerns, I will be leaving here as soon as this live is over and heading back over there. And when I get back over there, I will go down and check on Dolly first thing to make sure, one, that baby's still okay and that mom and baby still have the protection of the herd. And so, yes, it was. So, yes, Lindsay says it was a big baby. It was a very big baby. Let me show you all that baby's daddy. So that will be a great question that I could have answered earlier. I'm sorry that I didn't. I'm going to have to go to my text, and I know it's not going to be as easy for y'all to see this way. Let me show you that baby's daddy. Now, what I could do, let me send this to here. Could I do that? Could y'all give me about 30 seconds? What I will do is I'm going to just send this picture to the big screen. I want you all to see this baby's daddy. The baby's daddy's name is Hank. Hank. That's his registered name. And whenever we were able to acquire, let me send this real fast. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to do two things at the same time. One of those things being talk, and talking is not easy when I'm trying to do other stuff. All right, let's see if I can pull it up here. Right there. So right there, that handsome devil right there is, I would say Mr. Hank, but our cat's name is Mr. Hank. But look at the head on that bull. And he is a handsome devil. That's Dolly there beside him. And you can see that Dolly and Hank were a beautiful couple. And he did leave her one last gift before she left before she left the ranch that she lived on with Mr. Hank. Now, Jake did move Hank along. Hank is no longer the breed bull or the herd bull there on that ranch. As you guys already know, Santoro is the new herd bull on this particular ranch. So that's what most ranchers do after the bull has been the herd bull for a number of years, let's just say between 5 and 10 years. Most ranchers will move that bull along, usually in a trade deal, because a bull can breed into his late years. And so you will move that bull along and then bring in a fresh new bull. And so Mr. Jake worked out a deal with us where he sent us a 4-for-1 deal. We took Dolly and Reba, who are the red cows that we have now, and he sent both of their calves. And that's those calves' daddy. So if you ever see Patsy or Loretta, that right there is their daddy. I almost said Mr. Hank again. But gosh, Mr. Hank reminds me of our cat. So too many Hanks running around. But I'll tell you what, that is a wonderful looking bull. And so I'm only hoping that Dolly's offspring, who we have not named yet, will take some of those traits and characteristics from that handsome devil right there. The colors on Dolly look to be a lot more brown. She looks to favor her mom a whole lot more than she does her dad. She's a beautiful little calf. But listen, I'm not going to share all that with you right now because I know how you guys are. If I share too much in a live video, then most people will choose not to watch the actual video. But you can always go back and watch the actual birth. And if you watch towards the end, then you will see a very healthy baby. Yes, Aaliyah says she looked like a baby deer to me. Yes, she did. Her little ears and her nose. And, don't forget that all babies, when they first come out of that birth canal, are going to be a little bit misshapen, y'all. And if you saw a little bit of misshapenness, we always see that, and we always worry, and we always get mad and wonder, who else you been with, woman? That ain't my child. Who else you been with? That baby ain't mine. Tell me who else you been with. I think that all men probably feel that way when they see their child for the first time. And I was no exception. I already knew because of our intern. Our intern had told us that if Dolly has that baby anytime before mid-August, then it's not going to be from Tex. And so I kept hoping that maybe it was going to be twins. Maybe they'd be born premature, so it could be our Tex. But no, it ends up to where Mr. Hank got the last laugh on that one over there. And so now, if you think about it, though, this is interesting. If you think about it, Santoro, you remember Santoro, the bull with only one apple? Santoro ended up getting us a 5-for-1 deal. Now, I've not told Mr. I keep forgetting the fellow's name. I've not told Jake yet. Jake is the farmer, the rancher who raises those longhorns. I've not told Jake yet that cow was already pregnant. And guess what? I just got a 5-for-1 out of you. But I will say this, that Santoro is doing wonderful. There's no babies born from Santoro yet. But he's certain that Santoro knows what he's doing, and he will be letting us know whenever any babies are born from Santoro. But yes, and then Dave says that we think that Reba might be pregnant also. Dave, you have a very good eye, because I also think that Reba is in fact pregnant. So it may very well be a 6-for-1. And wouldn't that be something to have Santoro, who we thought we were never going to be able to move, we're going to end up having to keep forever and just find him a lady here or there. We ended up getting him moved to a beautiful ranch, and we got a lot of wonderful, wonderful stock out of the deal. You hate to say stock when you're a guy like us, a page like us. Saying the word livestock will put a really bad taste into someone's mouth, because what you imagine when you picture livestock or animals that are traded and sold as a commodity, they're bartered and they're auctioned and they're processed. So we try not to refer to our cows or pigs or goats or anything else as livestock. I understand that's a generic term, but most people, when they picture livestock, they picture guys that back up with this long ass trailer and load all these calves in there every year and all. Did I not say Santoro? I thought I said Santoro. I didn't say Sully. I said Santoro. Not sure where the comments are going, but maybe I misspoke. I don't know. Anywho's, no, we're not the kind of folks who are going to back up with a long trailer and load up all of our calves and send them off to the auction. However, you all know that any bulls born to us, and it's going to start with Prince Willie Joe. I know so many of y'all love that little bull. I know that you do. I see the comments. I read everything, and I know how much you love that little fella. And we also know that he has a crush on Jenny Lane. But Santoro cannot stay here with us. He will go and be someone's herd bull, and he will make someone a wonderful bull. All we're going to hope is that his little apples will drop in a timely manner. So when he gets to be a year and a half or 2 years old and he starts beefing up and he starts looking really, really masculine, we'll have to go out and take our photographs, and we will be able to actually photograph 2 apples, not just one. I know that sounds quite perverse, and a lot of you might be rolling your eyes or shaking your heads or saying, why do I even watch this guy? He's such a perv. But friends, in this business that we run, believe it or not, and a lot of people already know this. As a matter of fact, ladies, help me out. Don't make me say it. Ladies, do me a favor, and could you go ahead and tell everyone in the comments, what do other ranchers look for? What is the number one thing they look for when they go out on the market looking for a new herd bull? So I'm just going to wait for you all to answer that question over there. Jennifer says, don't worry, we are your hornies. And then she giggles. I don't know why I giggled like that. Jennifer, forgive me. I don't think that you giggle like that. So everyone is saying they look at the apples, not the bananas. Apples, not the bananas. And you're absolutely right. Friends, I know for city folks, and even you guys who don't live in the city, you live in the country, but you may not be familiar with the way a lot of animals interact, date, romance each other, court. You don't know about courting of animals. Ladies, I don't know exactly what you look at when you look for a potential partner. Maybe the eyes, maybe you like broad shoulders, maybe you like strong arms. I don't know. Everyone's different. Maybe you like a man with big chest, like strong chest, I mean. I don't know. But believe it or not, in the cattle kingdom, those animals, those ladies look at the apples. They don't look at the dimples. No, cows do not look for dimples. Nope, they do not look for dimples. They don't look for blue shirts. And they don't look for thick thighs. Y'all are so nasty. I'm glad it's y'all and not me. Do y'all know how fast my page would be shut down if I said the things that are coming out of your mouth right now? They look for the size of the apples. And so if you remember back to when we had, everyone knows that Tex, our herd bull Tex, who at this age, you can tell he's a stud. He looks the role. Everything about him is just 100% stud. But he hasn't always been that way. If you can think back to when he was about 2, maybe 3 years old, quite a bit younger. Don't forget that Santana, I know we all love Santana so much. It was Santana who had an amazing partner right there in the same pasture, right there. A guy who would follow her around, and she was his queen. However, when she got ready to think about possibly having a baby, it was not Tex who she chose to court or date. Instead, our beloved Santana went down to the back pasture. She found a way to climb through my dad's fence, and instead she ended up dating, at least for an hour or so, maybe 5 minutes, I'm not sure, Billy, my dad's bull. Now, don't forget, Billy at that time was already a very mature bull, and he had some apples that would drag the ground. Everyone knows about Billy. You know that what I'm saying is true, even though I'm kind of got the giggles now. I'm sorry. You all know that Billy had apples that would drag the ground. And so Santana was more interested in hanging out with Billy for that short while, even if it required crawling through barbed wire fencing. And then eventually she came back and had her a calf from Billy. We named that calf Huey. We did have to contact the Maury Provich show to find out who the daddy was. Or was that Jerry? Was it Jerry or Maury? We had to contact one of the talk shows to find out who was the daddy. Jerry. I forgot what show it was. And I'm kidding. We didn't really do that. But we all knew immediately that that baby did not belong to Tex because it looked exactly like Billy. Wow. It was Jerry Springer. No, it was the Mari. I don't know. So you guys are going back and forth. Was it? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We didn't really contact them. It was a joke, y'all. It was a joke. But that is what sometimes happens. I don't even know where that story comes from. Oh, no. What I was saying was we hope that little Prince Willie Joe, by the time he's 2 or 3 years old, we'll keep him with us for a while. He'll eventually move into our bullpen where our bulls will begin to help nature him. Right now, his mom is doing all of the nurturing. Santana is a wonderful mom. No, Jolene is the wonderful mom, but at some point we will have to pull him off of mom and he will move into the bullpen. And that's where Tex and Waylon will begin to nature him. And so once he gets natured and he's fine, then we'll start taking our photographs and we'll start posting those on the different publications where people look for new herd bulls. And we do think that because he's white, and we hope that if he has the same stature as a 2 or a 3-year-old Tex, then he's going to be just a stud. And we're hoping to get a nice price for him. But the beauty of all of that is the fact that we'll never have to worry about any of our bulls being sold off to auction or sent off to slaughter. They're not going to be processed. They will all live out wonderful lives on hopefully nice, big, beautiful ranches where they will have their own families to take care of and service. Service. I cannot believe I said that entire story and I never had a slip of the tongue and said something that's going to get me in trouble. I don't think I did. Waylon, yes, Waylon is Prince Willie Joe's dad, but even Waylon at his young age is already beefed up. He's going to be a beefy fella, y'all. He's a beefy fella. Someone says, you're getting really good, Lester. I lost the name on that because it went by so fast. But listen, it's been a rough day. And sometimes when you've been torn apart in the comments long enough, you do watch your mouth. You do watch what you want to say and how you want to say it. I'm just so blessed to have such a gracious audience. Thank you for being so gracious and forgiving of all the things that I've said, the things that I've done, the things that I have made mistakes on. And you seem to be very forgiving. And I could not thank you enough for being that kind of an audience, those kind of friends to me. So thank you so very much for that. All right, now listen, at this point, I've been on here for 50 minutes, and so I will be more than happy to go ahead and stop rambling about all kinds of stuff. I will put on my glasses over here, and I will try to answer some questions. Let's just try to remember to keep the questions geared to things that you want to ask me about things that I can answer, okay? And just try to keep that in mind. If you're ever watching anyone's channel, you should never have to ask any channel about what's going on with someone else's channel or their farm or their home or their life. Let them answer for themselves. That's the only way to keep this fair amongst all of the creators who share. We share so much, all of us. And it's kind of, here's an example. While Brianne and Laramie were here, I asked permission. Can I video with Cash? Can I video with Carter? Can I video what you guys are up to? Whenever Steph and Bud were gone on their vacation and they had the tree fall, Jamie and I made sure to ask, can we video the tree? Can we video the roof? Can we video what's going on? And so that's just common courtesy, friends. It's common courtesy that you don't impose on anyone else's videos or their content by trying to share. Information is power. I understand the way the world works. And by sharing information, you empower yourself to know something that someone else doesn't. But we just ask politely and kindly that you don't create any rifts amongst the family here by trying to just stay in your lane. Just stay in your lane. Okay, glasses are going on. And now I'm going to go to the comments. And so Denise says, did the new calf finally stand up and nurse off of Dolly? Denise, would you be okay if I ask you politely to wait until tomorrow's video? I just, I, here's the thing, Miss Denise. If I say yes, then I can promise you, I know my numbers. If I say yes, a video that would normally get X number of views is only going to get half of that. And because the fact is, you already know the answer. And so when you know the answer, people don't have to see it. You would think that they would want to see it to see it and experience it. No, they know. And so they're off to find other things. So I'm sorry, Miss Denise, but I will not and I cannot answer that question. But do you think if that calf was struggling, I'd be sitting here right now? Or would I have that calf in my arm with the bottle stuck in his mouth? Just saying. How is Andy? Andy is one of the many donkeys that was rescued off of the JL Ranch. Andy has an abscess in his front right foot that needs to be cut open. Guys, I'm not going to do that. I tried, but I wasn't able to because I just could not make myself do it. So what we do have is an appointment to see the farrier on Tuesday. So on Tuesday, which is a couple of days from now, there is a farrier coming out who will absolutely look at Andy's hooves and take care of that abscess. And that will also be in a video. Okay. Is Jamie okay after what happened earlier? Rose, Jamie has learned, as all video creators must, that the world is the internet can be very, very mean at times. And so even though the comments absolutely do affect us, some are worse than others, but we learn to roll with it. Not all days are as pleasant, and there are some days that you would like to say, you know what, screw it, I'm not doing it. I have no desire to talk to some people right now. And in fact, you don't. Some days you don't want to talk to anybody because of the direction and the angle that things can go and how fast people can turn on you. But we understand that that was just a couple of people who are not like you and me. And I'm just going to go ahead and say this, guys. I'm going to say something that may hurt your feelings if you're one of those people. But you guys do know that a lot of people are not 100% right. They're not 100% right here. And it's easy to see somebody who's not 100% right. And some people, they've never learned the word empathy. They've never learned the word tact. They've never learned to watch what they say or how they say it. And they will sometimes say things that can come across as mean and bitter and cruel and hurtful. And so sometimes when you see that once, you roll it off. If you see something similar a second time, you kind of move on. But when you start seeing those things over and over, then it can sometimes affect you to where you just don't want to be around anybody. And I'm saying that Jamie's going to be fine, but today Jamie does not care to be around anybody. So, all right, let's keep going. I saw a good question about who was the hardest baby to take from mom. I've lost the question, but I will tell you it was Jolene. Taking baby Jolene away from Pearl. I'm sorry, I can't find it. I've already lost it. It went by so darn fast. Taking Jolene away from Pearl was very hard. Now, when you ask hard, how hard was it? I'm guessing, do you mean for me, like as far as the danger that it put me in, or do you mean for the mom to have to give up that baby? I was referring to how hard it was for me, not in the emotional sense, because we've never taken babies away from a mom if we can help it, but we have had to move babies. We have had to move babies before to other pastures or from one location to another, usually for their safety. We don't forget that whenever Jolene had Prince Willie Joe, I had to drive down at night and pick up Prince Willie Joe from a very dangerous location where Jolene had him, a location that was very low. It was the ground was very low. We had a thunderstorm come through that night, and by the next day, that ground was covered in 2 foot of water. And so if we had left that baby lay there, then Prince Willie Joe would have been washed away. There's no way that Jolene could have got him up and got him out of there. A cow does not grab her calf by the neck the way a dog or a cat might and pull them to safety. A cow might move and they will shove, but they're not able to pick up and move. So moving Prince Willie Joe from Jolene was actually quite easy. We did it on a live video. You all saw when I did it. And Jolene was wonderful. She allowed me to move that calf. But whenever Pearl had Jolene, she had Jolene right over here on the haunted side of Longhorn Lester's. And over here on this part of the property, they were in such a thicket that we were scared for predators, number one, and we did not really know. We wanted to be able to keep a closer eye on them and have them closer to the lights. So we did go down. I took the four-wheeler, and you may remember this video. I don't think it was live because we don't have service to go live out there. But I did have a video of me having to get off of that four-wheeler and picked up Jolene, baby Jolene. I put her in my lap, and I drove her back, and her mom chased me. Her mom chased me with fire in her eyes, y'all. Fire in her eyes, horns moving left and right. Her mom, if she could have caught me, would have knocked me right off that four-wheeler and taken that baby back. So she was by far the hardest baby that I ever had to move as far as my own physical safety goes. A lot of you guys can remember that. Fun story, scary story, but fun. The tater chips are doing wonderful. As a matter of fact, I did not post it because I'd already posted a live video. But little Cash and Brienne were up this morning, and Cash was watching the baby goats play. So he didn't have his shoes on. So I picked him up and I carried him over to the goat pasture, and we watched the tater chips play. It was the cutest thing. Cash really has a thing for one of them. And once again, here I go giving away my video. Darn it. If I tell you too much, Beth, I think that you'll still watch, Beth. I do think that you'll still watch, but a lot of folks will not. So yes, tomorrow, I promise you, it will be a Facebook video because I recorded it up and down in that mode. But yes, both the tater chips are doing absolutely wonderful. They are eating good. Mom's doing great. And we are so very blessed for them. They add a whole lot of joy to our lives. All right. I'm just trying to see if I have any new questions. A lot of folks saying, Lester, don't worry. I watch all of your videos. And that might be true. But I'll tell you what. So it was Jake and L.E. who brought Gracie out of the woods. What you saw was a picture of Jake. If you've forgotten, it was Ellie and Jake. It was actually Ellie who had to do a whole lot of the distracting of the female to get Gracie out of those woods. Yeah, don't tell half of a story. If you're going to tell the story, tell it all. I'm going to just kind of figure that I might be about done. I don't see any new questions coming in. And so now, of course, there's a lot of things that flew by that I can't catch. Someone says, I remember Ellie being with Jake. I remember that. Yes, if you guys, if you remember, I think that video might be Jake's best video of all time. It was also his first video of all time. We made sure that we promoted that video on our channel, and that is the video that gave Jake his kickstart into social media. Everyone needs a kickstart. Social media doesn't happen for everybody. If you are the kind of person who would like to have a social media channel and you want to start making videos and hopefully having something like what the Morrow Hill family do, that's wonderful. It's a beautiful life that we're able to live, but it does take a kickstart. And so whereas Hurricane Harvey is what kickstarted my channel And then every other creator has had a kickstart from the umbrella channel, which is I'm a Survivor Sanctuary. So we've been blessed to help other channels get their start and get a push. And then what we've discovered is that most people who enjoy, I think I might be about to lose you all. Something just happened that was kind of weird. I saw a flash right before my eyes. But no, so you kind of have to have some kind of a kickstart to get a channel going. And I remember that Jake's coming out video was the one with him and Ellie going down and getting Gracie out of the woods. It's been my pleasure. I'll go ahead and end with that right over there. Where did I see it? Darn it. I may have to go have surgery on my eyes. I think they call it something. I'm just having a harder and harder time seeing anything now. And then, well, as I'm scrolling up through here, no, Uriel only works with us on very rare occasions. Very rare occasions. He's extremely busy right now with his own job. So for everyone who keeps, or I'm sorry, it's not everyone. For that one lady who demands to know, yes, the one that I called a weed a little bit earlier, she's still asking. She just cannot seem to not ask. Uriel he comes around on very rare occasions. And I'm so sorry, I lost that. But it wasn't so much a question, it was more of a statement. And it just said how blessed everyone is to be able to have been introduced to all of the Morrow Hill creators and their channels. And I will say that will probably be the biggest blessing, I think, that I was ever able to share with anybody, in the fact that I ran across social media out of a horrible act of Mother Nature, and it absolutely changed my life and my boys. Their lives have been changed forever. It got us out of a really tough financial situation, and it made it to where now we are feeling like we're living really good. Jamie and I have been very wise, and we've made our money. We've placed our money in safe places, in properties, not in foolish things. We don't travel the world. We don't take lavish vacations. We don't have fancy clothes. We don't wear fancy things. Jamie's not a purseaholic or a shopaholic or a nailaholic or any of the other ways that people can end up spending so much money. We try to invest our money very wisely, and we try to invest our money in things that's going to come back and benefit the kids whenever we're, dead and gone. And so we both feel the same way about that. I know you love your purses. I'm not knocking you. I am not knocking you, ladies, with your shoes and your purses. I am not knocking you at all. But I do know how much those things can cost. Okay, so I do know. But no, it's a blessing now seeing so many creators able to do things that they could not have afforded to have done before they had a social media presence, or able to do things as they want to do them, not have to save and save and save and save for months and months and months to do things. Now, most of the creators there, I forgot the expression, but they have the world in the palm of their hands as far as how hard do they want to work. Obviously, the harder you work, the more quality of a video or a product that you put out, the more your channel is going to grow, and the more revenue you can make every month. If you go out there and just throw out any kind of video, that would be the same as a grocery store selling any kind of food, or any kind of Walmart selling any kind of product. And your brand will not grow if you do not put time and effort into it. And so I used to preach that. I finally stopped. I've given everybody the same lecture. And so some have taken advice and some will refuse to. But nonetheless, everyone has an opportunity now. So All right. Well, listen, friends, I know that I've kept you over an hour. And so thank you so much for being here with me. I'm so blessed to have you. Calling you friends and family has been the greatest honor. And I would not trade you for anything. I'm just going to ask you that in the world that we live in, please try to stay kind and try to learn empathy. If you've not learned that in all of the years that you've been here on this earth, it's one of the greatest things that you can do. Kindness is free, and being kind to each other, especially being kind to those who don't always agree with you or who don't share your opinion. You know, just a little while ago, I was texting with my friend Dwayne Lacey, and I says, you know, Dwayne, I mean, come on, guys, I'm not an idiot. I do see color, but I don't judge based on color. I judge based on the character of the individual. I'm not an idiot. I remember once when I referred to a new teacher as I said there's he's a black guy, and how appalled one of my colleagues were that I called him a black guy. And I'm sitting there in my classroom. There was no kids there, and I'm trying to figure out what I said wrong. And I'm like, the new teacher, the black guy. Well, I don't see color. And that was their answer. I don't see color. And I'm like, oh, okay. So in saying so, maybe it's not the way that someone else would have referred, but I don't judge color, but I'm not an idiot. I see color. I'm a white guy. However, the character is not in the color of my skin. The character is what comes out of my inners, y'all. The character is what shows through your inners. The same goes for if you're gay or bi or lesbian or any of I don't care. I don't care who you sleep with that night. I don't. I like women. I don't care if you like women too, or if you like, I don't care. Or religion. I don't care if you're Catholic or Christian or Muslim or any, I don't care. And so a lot of people don't understand how you cannot care and how it doesn't affect you and how it doesn't, y'all. And that may be something you have to at some point learn to get over, because the days of only associating with people who are exactly like you, that's kind of old and outdated. And what you have to learn is to judge people by their character, y'all, by their character. And in saying so, I think that we would be a lot better as a country, as a world, and as a people, just for humanity in general, if we would learn to do that. Judge by the character of the person, not by all of the ridiculous things that people like to. That's the dumb part of it. Anywho, I probably made no sense to anybody. That means I'm starting to ramble. Thank y'all for watching. We love you so very much. We're blessed to have you. And there will be some really neat videos come out tomorrow on all the channels. I'm going to end this video the same place I started it. Along with all of these amazing helpers, we're going around the yard picking up all of the limbs that fell during the hurricane recently. Lex is over here also picking up things from the hurricane. Oh my goodness, fellas. Look at this pile. You guys have made quite the pile there. That's a lot of limbs. So how hard is this job overall?
I don't necessarily think this is a hard job.
It's not hard.
But it's more of like a long job.
So Lex is about that. He's always about how much time a job takes. He doesn't really focus on the amount of energy it takes. He always thinks about how much time it's going to take. And yes, I do know that everything is grown up because we have nothing over here to graze and keep this down. But we did lose a limb. This is not a tree, but we lost a limb out of that tree during the hurricane. Here's that limb here. And as you can see, it took out this entire section of my fencing. Now, I'm not so concerned because the big birds would never try to crawl something like this. They're not that sure-footed. But I will have to fix this before we bring the donkeys or horses over. I want to show you all one of the saddest things that I've seen all week long. Are y'all ready? Now, you wouldn't know how sad this is because you don't know how much life and laughter and joy and fun Jamie and I were able to sit out on the porch and listen to coming from this little RV for the last week or so. But the lights in Plum Grove are back on, and that means that Brienne and Laramie and their wonderful kids, Cash and Carter, have left us. I'm going to turn this back up to a high enough setting where it's not running all the time. That will go off. No, it's the saddest thing. Bree did a nice little cleanup, and she took all the sheets in to have them washed and cleaned out the fridge and did everything. She just cleaned up everything. And I wasn't here when they left. I was at the other property. And I got a text from Laramie, and he said, thank you, and this and this and this and this and this. And I felt so emotional